You just hold a nice...
And no one works harder at creating comedy than the First Lady of Television, Lucille Ball. Boy, you should see that woman work all week on a rehearsal. For the past 15 years, Lucy has been a superstar of television, and yet to watch her in rehearsal, one would think she was a brand new star in a brand new show. A few weeks ago, our cameras followed Lucy through a typical rehearsal of a show called Lucy the Robot. And we asked Lucy herself about her world-famous alter ego.
Well, I think there's great audience identification with Lucy. There always has been. Even with a slight change of format 2 or 3 times, there's always been audience identification. We have done domestic situation comedy with married people. That's with Bill and Vivian and Desi and myself. And then the next change, which was without the husbands, was certainly audience identification for millions of women who try to go through life without a man and have to raise children and what goes on, life without a man. And then this last year, where I've been even without Vivian, it's a woman alone trying to make her way in the world, and of course not as bungling as I in some cases, but still identification.
Oh, perfect. Speak!
My name is Major Fun Fun.
Each scene is rehearsed in 3 stages. First, Lucy and her cast do a run-through. Then, while Lucy and the cast rehearse and rework the lines behind stages, the stand-ins assist the cameraman and the director in blocking out the scenes for the camera. And then Lucy and the cast run through the scene again. This is repeated time after time, scene after scene, day after day. Even the position of a TV set can take minutes of discussion.
Be all right.
He had a little trouble with that. And when I'm here, it doesn't look like I'm looking at it. See? This is the way it should be for me.
Oh, all right, no problem.
Now, right.
In one scene, Lucy was to play the role of a robot. She worked for over an hour trying to perfect the right rhythm, the right movements, the right timing.
I didn't do what I wanted to do in that. I was hampered. It was supposed to be a robot, and in being a robot, I couldn't put the Lucyisms, as I call them, into it with full logic working for me, and I had a great deal of trouble. I wanted to do something else with it, and being a robot, I was hampered. It was like putting a mask on.
And all through rehearsal, there's the changing of lines, changing of inflection, changing of moods, everything to get the just right comic effects.
I think the most difficult part is getting the script exactly the way I want it, having the script naturalized, what we call naturalized, done as Lucy would do it. I always look at Lucy very objectively, and Lucy does things differently than you would do it or I would do it.
Yep. Good touch. Don't worry, don't worry, you'll get it fixed. Wendell should get a big kick out of here. Now, can't you aim for me, even though I'm a little off-key? Of that camera.
Right here.
The co-star of a situation comedy is a vital and fundamental part of its success.
Hello, Mr. Mooney.
Gail Gordon, who plays Mr. Mooney on The Lucy Show, was known to millions of radio fans as Mayor Latrivia on the Fibber McGee and Molly radio shows, and to television viewers as Mr. Conklin on Our Miss Brooks.
He's just absolute tops in up vitality all the time, and the sense of play which he comes in with and goes home with. He never loses it.
Wendell is staying with me.
Is he a problem?
You have to have someone to bounce off, and as good as you are, I couldn't get out there and just bounce off 3 walls. I'd have to have someone strong opposite me. I've always known that and very aware of it. I need strength and vitality, and so does the character Lucy.
There are very few breaks in a Lucy rehearsal, since most time off the set is spent in learning the script. Our cameras caught Gail Gordon for a second in his dressing room.
You know, one of the most exciting things about Lucy, at least to me, is the fact that from the very first reading of any script, she puts everything into it. She really gives, and I think this is very stimulating, at least it is to me. I think it surprises some performers because they don't expect anyone to give on the first reading. They expect you to sort of go along easily and finding your way, but she is right there all the time. And I think this is wonderful, and I enjoy it very, very much, and I think it's a great help to everybody.
I take the entire cast and go over and over the script and fix the little words, intonations, attitudes, and just rehearse.
Hong Kong, is that all right? That's not it.
As the day became night outside, the rehearsal continued inside with still another meeting with the writers in Lucy's dressing room. But now the rehearsal is over and the cameramen, prop men, sound men, and lighting men all prepare for another opening night. As scenery is touched up for the last time, Lucy goes over the lines with her cast for the final finishing touch. And then the lights come up and the show is on.
Good morning, Mr. Mooney.
Morning.
Mr. Mooney, I was wondering if you...
No, Mrs. Carmichael. Absolutely not, Mrs. Carmichael. No, not a chance. Out of the question.
What is that?
A little recording I made to save my voice when you're around.
Well, you didn't even hear what I had to say.
I'm not interested, Mrs. Carmichael.
But...
Mrs. Carmichael, you give me a pain in the neck.
You just hold a nice...
And no one works harder at creating comedy than the First Lady of Television, Lucille Ball. Boy, you should see that woman work all week on a rehearsal. For the past 15 years, Lucy has been a superstar of television, and yet to watch her in rehearsal, one would think she was a brand new star in a brand new show. A few weeks ago, our cameras followed Lucy through a typical rehearsal of a show called Lucy the Robot. And we asked Lucy herself about her world-famous alter ego.
Well, I think there's great audience identification with Lucy. There always has